Welcome. Welcome. We are going to discuss how to use Zoom to host a virtual meeting or webinar. First things first, you want to create a Zoom. To do that, you just go to zoom.us and create a free account. You can create a free account that allows up to 100 participants for up to 40 minutes at a time. If you need to go longer than 40 minutes, you can just have everybody log off and log back in on the same link. So once you've created your account, you can change your name here to add pronouns, and you can add a photo of yourself. To start a meeting, you go to the Meetings tab on the menu, and you schedule a meeting. Here you name the meeting whatever you would like. I would recommend naming the meeting the name that your Mobilize event shows so that people know that they're in the right place. Here you adjust your day and time. You adjust the duration, the time zone. You can even make it a recurring meeting if you'd like, daily, weekly, monthly. You can actually require people to register before the meeting, which has pros and cons. The pros are that it allows you to collect names and emails of your attendees. The cons are that it is one more step and one more piece of information that people have to fill out before they join. And so you will probably see a slightly higher drop rate from the number that signed up to the number that attends if you require it, but it's a good way to get the info. You should keep this to generate automatically a meeting ID. I'd recommend keeping a passcode there, and you can even adjust the passcode if you'd like. The waiting room, this is totally up to you. If you set a waiting room, what it does is it makes it so when somebody joins, even if they have the link, somebody has to manually admit them before they join. So it does allow you to keep out any known bad actors. The only con can be if you're not careful, you may end up holding people in the waiting room too long and they may give up. So do make sure that you have somebody checking the waiting room and actively admitting people. For video, I would turn video on for host and participants if it's a standard meeting. I would keep audio to allow people to use both, which means either telephone or computer audio. Meeting options, you can allow people to join before you do if you'd like. I prefer not to. I highly recommend you mute all participants upon entry to avoid unwanted noise. Here, if you'd like, you can set it so that only authenticated users can join, which means that people have to sign into Zoom in order to join the meeting. I prefer not to because that's another step for people. You can record the meeting if you'd like, and you can also add additional hosts. So once you have done all of the settings that you feel comfortable with, go ahead and press save. Once you've created a meeting, you could start it, but very likely you'll be creating your meeting long before you would start it. And so here on this page, this is where you would get the information to copy the invitation. Press copy invitation here. It copies it to your clipboard, and then you can email that to people or copy it into the Mobilize info so that all your attendees get that info. Here, if you scroll down, you can edit the meeting. So if you need to change any of the settings, you absolutely can do that. Now, the way you access this, when you're on Zoom, to go back to this, you go to My Account, Meetings. And here you can see your upcoming meetings. And so when you have the meeting that you're ready, just press Start. We'll go over this in a second, but before that, I'm going to show you about webinars. Now, meetings are for interactive conferences where you and the participants, everybody can see each other, everybody can speak. Of course, people don't have to turn on video, people can be on and off mute, but it's really a conference environment. A webinar is more of a one-directional service. It's more of a live stream. And so if you're the host, you can speak, but you're the only one who can speak unless you have other people as panelists. And so the average person who's attending the meeting, they are not on camera. There's no audio for them. They're just watching the webinar, and they can use the chat box or whatnot. So to schedule a webinar, similar process, similar fields that you have to fill out. One additional option you have is you can opt to have a question and answer box where people can submit questions, and it kind of holds them, and then you can answer them directly to the questions, or you could address the question live on air. It's just a nice way to avoid letting questions get buried in the chat box. You can also enable a practice session, which means before your webinar gets broadcast live to the average attendee, you and the other participants can talk privately beforehand, and you can make sure that everybody's all set up with audio and whatnot. So similar process, you just press schedule, and then you can access your scheduled webinars the same way by going there. So let's just show what it looks like to actually start a meeting. All right, I'm going to start this meeting. Okay, I can join with or without video. I would join with video if I was actually the host. All right, here we are. So I'm going to go over all the buttons here. Here you can mute and unmute yourself. You can stop video or resume video. If you stop video, it'll show your profile photo that you added. The reason it's not showing a video is because I have a black screen protector on, so my screen is just black. There are several great security features. You can lock the meeting so that nobody can join other than the people already in it. You can enable or disable the waiting room. So let's say you set up the waiting room originally, maybe 5 minutes into the event, you want to turn the waiting room off so that people automatically get added to the event. And you can also toggle on and off whether you allow participants to screen share. I would recommend you don't allow them to unless you have a particular need. You can allow participants to chat or not chat. So if you turn off the chat, you can still send chat messages to all your participants, but they can't send them to each other or to the group. And you can allow people to rename themselves, such as if they join and their name is shown as iPhone, for example, they could rename themselves. They can also unmute themselves. And these are all features that you can turn on and off. And so if you click it, you'll see now the checkbox is off. I'm going to click it again. Now the checkbox is on. You can also remove participants if you want. So that is one of the features. You can also manage participants. So what's happening now is a participant just asked to join. And so here, I, as the admin, I see this button for admit. So I'm just going to show you what the waiting room looks like. If you show that, you can see how many people are waiting. And sometimes you might get multiple people waiting depending on the size of your event. And so you could admit them here, or you could admit them when you first saw them. If you have multiple people asking to be admitted, there will be a button that will allow you to admit all of them at the same time. So I'm going to admit this attendee. Awesome. All right. So now you can see what manage participants look like. So this is me. I'm the host. I can mute myself or rename myself if I wanted to. And here is my attendee. Now, if you click on more, here's what you can do. You can ask this person to start their video. You can chat them directly. You can make them a host. So if you have to leave the meeting early, or if you want to allow other people to have these host permissions and admit waiting room people, you can make someone the host. You can assign someone to type closed caption. You could put someone in the waiting room, for example. So if somebody was disturbing the event or something, you could put them in the waiting room, and it's kind of like they'll just stay there, it's a really nice feature. I could also rename somebody. So if I happen to see that somebody, I know who they are, but their name shows as iPhone or something, I could change their name, or I could add a title for them. And then I could also remove this person if I wanted to. So lots of great features there. And now here you can see you can chat to a specific participant, or you can send a chat to everyone. Let's just show what that looks like. Hello. There we go. So now, here's the thing. My participant is not muted here. And so they could hypothetically be talking. So what I might want to do is I might want to mute everybody. Let's say we finished a discussion portion. Now we want to move on. We don't want anyone interrupting. We could mute everybody. And now we can either allow participants to unmute themselves, or we cannot allow them to do that so that everybody stays quiet. So I'm going to keep that checked though. There we go. So we've just muted everybody. So now if the chat box hasn't already popped out, you can get it to pop out here. You can pop it out, pop it back, so on and so forth. Here you can also share your screen. So you have the option to choose your desktop or your app or a specific application that you share. And if you click the caret, there's additional options here. So here you can make it so that multiple participants can share simultaneously. You can allow participants to share if you want. I wouldn't recommend that you do that, of course, unless you have a reason to. And here you can even record your meeting. When you press the record button, you will see a little recording cloud, and your participants will be able to see that too. So they'll know they're being recorded. If you do record, you should also tell everybody. And then when you want to pause or stop recording, there you go. You can pause it. Now here you can assign breakout rooms. So let's say that I want to assign people to 2 breakout rooms. It'll show me, it'll have 0 to 1 participants per room because I have only 1 other participant. You could also manually assign people if you want, but in many cases you just need the automatic. So here it's automatically assigned this user to breakout room 1. And so perhaps this person has not yet accepted. I could move them there by pressing move to, or the person can accept it themselves. So I'm just going to open all rooms. And now on my phone, I'm the other user on my phone, I have an option, I have a pop-up that says the host is inviting you to join breakout rooms 1, and then I can say later or join. So I'm going to say join, and now that we have the green dot, we can see that this user has joined the breakout room. We could move them to the other breakout room if we wanted to. And then they'll get a notification that the host has moved them. So now that you have people in breakout rooms, let's say you're sending people prompt questions for discussion. Here, you can type what you want to send the person, and everybody in their breakout rooms will receive that message. It'll show up as a little pop-up on their screen. And then when we are done with that, we press close all rooms, and then everybody gets this countdown clock that tells them that they have 1 more minute. So that is breakout rooms. It's a very, very nice feature. And one other thing that may interest you is gallery view. And so since there is only 1 other person, gallery view isn't really a huge issue. But when you start to have multiple people, it's really nice to be able to see everybody at once instead of just the person who's talking. So that's handy. Now, if there is 1 person who you want to continue to see, you could always pin them, and then the other people will show up there, and you could scroll through over there. So I would always recommend gallery view if you have a discussion-based event. So now we're going to go ahead and end the meeting. It does give you the option of leaving the meeting and assigning a new host. As I showed you, you can do that in the more buttons over there. You can assign somebody a host, but we're done. So I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting for all. I hope you enjoyed this video about how to use Zoom to host meetings.